All right, we're going to do this little roundup as quick as possible because I don't really think there's a huge amount to discuss. We've just had the details of the SEC not challenging grayscale ETF shit, so the market has reacted as such, and we've seen a push up on ETH and BTC, and obviously across the board. So crypto has seen a push up in the wake of that decision making, although I don't think it changes the picture very much. So what we've got in the majority of alts are some nice 4-hour bull divs. And, you know, I put the rumor out there, the SEC, the leaker to Reuters has seen the bullish divergences and therefore decided to inform them of the news to get the nice little play out. But without that, this is a nice little squeeze up against what has been a pretty aggressive trend all the way from the start of this week. You know, this has just been bleed after bleed after bleed, and especially alts. They've given back everything. They're trash, garbage, not worthy of longing, not worthy of spot buying, garbage. Okay, it's just all hot trash, and this is a squeeze against what has been a bleed out after some aggression at the start of the week. And I think that's basically it for crypto. You know, this is that's not a call for zero. That's just that there's nothing else to discuss. I think that this is going to be a squeeze. We'll see how far ETH gets, 1600, 1610s. That's kind of your zone of interest. So you've got this region through here, which is basically kind of, you know, the point of your breakdowns. It would also be a great squeeze against this more bleedy price action that we see down in this region here. So that's the squeeze that you're looking for. That's the move to the upside. And I think that if there's juice this weekend, that's the one that ETH will try and push through. And really, it's the same picture on BTC. Small divergence between the lows here on the 4-hour, and the daily 27.4 is the really sticky point for BTC. It's had a lot of interaction with that zone, even in more recent times since August. We've seen the big rejection here, 27.4, nice rejection again, finally getting back on top, holding it as support, only to go and lose it again here. So anything that comes back into this 27.4 region, 27.2, 27.4, is like the zone of worry. So again, BTC can easily make that move up, squeeze this weekend, but it doesn't really change the picture. If you start overcoming those levels, if BTC gets back above 27.4, ETH back above the 1610s, 1620s ideally, then I think you can have a different conversation, or I will have a different conversation with you on the back of that situation developing. But for now, nothing really changes in terms of my mind and the fact that all of this is going to come crashing down into lows for 2023 before the end of the year. So the weekly picture doesn't change. We're getting closer towards confirming my thought process over the last 3 weeks that this is a lower high formation region and that eventually this low will break. This is where all of the volatility and the pain will come through, and we'll get the sell-off and the movement to the downside. So really that's what my picture of doom looks like. Is this is the lower high. This area here is the daily market structure, the 3-day market structure, and the fresh low on the weekly. And when all of that snaps at once, it's going to be a bloodbath. That's basically the summary, right? Happy listening. And then we'll go over to kind of the confirmation markets in what gives me that thought process. And the dollar has had a very, very good close to the week. It's had a very good interaction back with this 105.50 level. And if you have been listening before and you've listened any time over the last 3 weeks or any of the streams, you'll have heard me reference this level hundreds of times and that it's so important for the dollar. So what we've seen is the retest back into the 105.50s. That's the top of the former range. This is a 12-month range with a breakout and a retest, and the dollar showed on Thursday a really nice green day to break away from this. You also had a nice signal on the 4-hour here with a really nice diagonal running down the dollar here and finally getting that big impulsive move away. And I don't think the dollar's done. You know, I don't think the dollar is done in this situation. I think that the dollar continues its strength. Next up is the 108s and then up towards the 109.70s. I think that is the next zone where we can look for weakness, but I don't think that's here. Now, of course, the bullish outcome from this scenario is that the dollar drops back inside the range still. It is an outcome. It can happen. So if the dollar drops back into 105.50s, then I think you drop whatever you're doing and you get long on risk markets, because I think then we get the year-end rally. We get a huge Santa rally. Everybody's happy. Extra Christmas presents for the whole family. And, we move into 2024. I think it's really as simple as that. While the dollar is still above this, I still think you need to be very nervous on risk. And then when we head to look at the traditional markets, where, if I do say so, I've been absolutely slaughtering these markets, which has been wonderful because I can't hear anything when it comes to crypto. So managed to get into basically the Pico top of the NASDAQ and ride the short down so far. In this situation here, again, just in line with BTC, market structure trade, lower highs, lower lows. So we're looking for fresh lows here on the NASDAQ, finally break through this region, tap into the little demand cluster. That would be very nice. The bullish case here is that the daily RSI is back at the 50 and it will try and hold that this time instead of rejecting like it has done previously. And that the weekly actually isn't in a terrible position. So in this situation here on the NASDAQ, especially after this rally up, this little correction region that we're in here to bring the RSI back down towards the 50 isn't necessarily all bad. If this is going to break up, then I'm sure the dollar is going to be back inside the range, and therefore it makes this a very easy trade. And from this point, you are just pitching for all-time highs. It's as easy as that. Right, so the market right now for me is very simple. I've been trying not to overcomplicate things. I've been bearish as long as the dollar is maintaining the top of the former range, and I've been looking at shorting the indexes. I've played the indexes exceptionally well this week, and again, if I do say so myself, but it's been a very, very good week for me in terms of index trade execution, thought process, clarity of thought, and just being able to kind of move in and out of the market at very good times. So this last week has been very good, but the kind of the concerns are there. And yes, we've had this squeeze up on crypto, and yes, the markets look as though they're kind of suddenly in a better place because BTC is 1% green on the day after some positive news, and everybody will start talking about ETF stuff again. But the picture is a lot more bleak than that still from my perspective. There's nothing done that changes the prevailing trend here. The danger signs are still there for BTC. The dollar is still insanely strong. And there really just doesn't still seem to be a spot appetite for BTC whatsoever. It just seems to be, fucking around on futures, and that's what's driving the price back and forth. So until that situation changes, I've really got no reason to be bullish on crypto or expecting higher prices. Still pretty convinced that this high that we've got currently will be the lower high on the weekly. If it manages to pull off a crazy move into 29,000, I would still short there. That's the original region that I wanted. But as it stands, short squeeze. The weekend is going to be probably more of the same. Important levels to watch though: 1615, 1620 on ETH, and 25, what do we say, 27,400. I get so mixed up with NASDAQ now and BTC and figuring out what's worth what. 27,400 and 27,200. Big daily time frame picture for BTC there. Lots of interaction previously. If we get the continuation of that movement up this weekend, that's a sticky area for BTC. But apart from that, still very, very much on the bearish side of the market.